It is the fun special Wednesday, the Super Wednesday, the mega stream. We just earlier today watched not Festival Express. We watched Monterey Pop Festival. We followed that up with Jack White's album Blunderbuss, and now we are going to eat a piece of album pie. I had it voted on. We've literally got a poll going as to whether or not, well, we had a poll going as to whether or not I would shuffle. We are not shuffling. We also have a bet going on in the chat where viewers have gambled their viewing points to decide if it was going to be a top 13 slice of pie. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, ending at Billy Strings, or if it would be any of the rest. So, now you know. Guys, do you have an album on the pie? Let me know. There's 191 albums on it. Are one of them yours? Good luck to everybody. If you're finding out you won on YouTube a little bit later, congratulations. What's it gonna be? What are we gonna listen to? Is it going Big Pie? Is it Tropical F Storm? Okay, well, I guess we're going psychedelic today. We're keeping it psych. Tropical F Storm, Laughing Death in Meatspace. This is not one I have heard. Yes, okay, so, by the way, it looks as though that was a top 13, so let me go ahead and choose the outcome. Congratulations to those that picked the top 13. You have been awarded your tuning forks. Completing the prediction now. Congratulations. And this is apparently their debut album, too. Okay. So, let's find it. Death in Meat Space. The album. Okay. Now, this again kind of has a Where the Wild Things Are sort of art cover, kind of like the most recent album we listened to. Their most recent one, this guy, Fairyland Codex, which was fantastic. You can find my viewing of that album, or my listening to of that album on my channel. I have to ask, guys, whose album was this? Who put this one on the pie? I'm definitely interested. We've heard one of their albums before. We've heard a couple of their songs before. We've heard some of what they did with Giz, which was awesome. And this is almost just as good as the new one. Nice. Okay, awesome. Did we find out whose album it was, though? Yo, Uni! Dude, I'm so glad this is happening during the daytime for you, and it's your album. Oh, man. W's in the chat for Uni. W's in the chat for Uni. If there's one thing I've known about Uni in his time as a viewer on the channel, it is that our guy likes psychedelic rock. He definitely likes psych. Incidentally, also really likes M83, but he put this on there. It was a top 13 album. It's been on there for a little while. Cygen boosted it a ton as well, so I'm making sure credit goes where it is due. And apparently, Uni alleges to be the #1 TFS fan. Now, this is going to be my second venture into their work. Also, I want everybody to put, just W's of support in the chat. Forgive me, one of the members of Tropical F Storm has breast cancer, and I just want all of us, Fiona from, thank you, for whatever reason, it just wasn't coming to my head. Fiona from Tropical F Storm has apparently been diagnosed with breast cancer, and I would just like all of us as a community to throw our positivity in there, throw W's of support, because we absolutely 100% know that she's coming out on top of this thing, without question. I want to speak that positivity into existence and just make sure that she knows all of us believe in her and her healing moving forward. Guys, this is a music discovery stream, so do let me know. Have you heard this album before, or are you raw dogging a very first album listen with me? I'm going to hit the play button. Before I do, it's very important to me that you know that you are awesome, that you are valuable, that you are important, that you matter, that you are deserving of love, and that I am abundantly grateful for even a moment of your time. If you like what you see, feel free to hit the like and the subscribe button. It goes a long way to help me out. If you really like what you see, leave a comment. I would love to hear from you, or join us on Kick or Twitch. I stream every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Arizona time. These people over here are actually the best people. Come hang out with us. Come discover music with us. I know I speak for all of us when I say we would love to have you by. Now, this is another psychedelic rock band that's coming out of Australia, and I have kind of been saying for a while now that Australia is really holding up a lot of the best music in the world right now on its shoulders coming out in the world today. I can't even say it's biased because I live in America. I really think Australia is pumping out some of the best music the world has to offer within the last, we'll say, 10 years. And that's not just because my favorite band is from there. Guys, I guess it's time to hop in. Again, Raw Doggers, identify yourselves. We're going to hop in with my second, but their first album, TFS, A Laughing Death in Meatspace, opening up with You Let My Tyres Down. The first track is their most popular song by far. Got it. Okay.
In Ramad right now, and she'll be there for a while. For the wounding of a rent-a-car and a ram raid in sunshine. She's right there on CCTV, forgetting to take her medication. But then Ruby says a lawyer will get the best deal that they can make. Oh, but then I grew up around their family.
His voice does remind me a little bit of Joe Strummer. Am I the only one?
The best deal that they can make. Oh, but then I grew up around their family, and they were such a bunch of losers. They could only to each other. Oh, and she about the cruises, and she could say anything. So when you mention the plea bargains,
I've mentioned the Viagra Boys vocal comparison in the past before as well. I do see it there for sure, Silver Fillet. I love that they come in, yeah, baby's in remand right now, like immediately with a tough situation, like 100% not. Oh wait, no, that is a good that's a good thing. You want to be in remand, and she'll be there for a while for the wounding of a rent-a-cop. Wait, in remand, that's remission. That's a good thing. Remand is not a good thing. So yeah, it immediately starts out with a bad thing. Your brain ever just take a dump on you? More of an accent than Strummer, but they're also from different places, right? Like one's from England, one's from Australia. And Ram Raid in Sunshine. She's right there on CCTV, forgetting to take her medication. But then Ruby says her lawyer will get the best deal that they can make her. I mean, it really jumps you kind of into a Law and Order episode there, you know?
It's making everybody feel uptight.
I love that tone.
You left my tires down.
I love that.
You left my tires down.
Just a little two-chord jam.
Anything at any time that you left my tires down. I picked a car up from the depot. I had my lunch at China Rose, and then I snorted half a gram of Australia's finest homemade coke.
I've never snorted anything. In terms of doing coke, is snorting half a gram a lot I don't know. This is a question of ignorance.
And a child was mauled by bullets outside the High Point shopping center, while a two-rack tractor in effect bit down on her placenta, and an army surplus blown a coat the outskirts of parole. It's raining in Victoria.
The madness there.
So that shit's under control.
You go from these like dun 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 da 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 down. It's really cool phrasing there.
It's raining in Victoria. So that shit's under control. You let my tires down. You let my tires down. You see, I'd give you anything at any time, but you let my tires
What do you think he means by "you let my tires down"?
down. You let my tires down.
I love this tone. No, actually, this is a tropical F-word storm right here. But welcome to the Rooskies, homie. Rooskies, make our new friend feel like.
And I give you anything, anytime. You let my tires down.
Dude.
You let my tires down.
I can. I choose not to, for the most part.
You let my tires down. You let my tires.
This is madness. Not a saying in America, no. Not that I'm aware of. I've been here for 34 years. I haven't heard it.
You let my tires down.
Let air out of one's tires. I didn't know if this word, like, because we would spell tire T-I-R-E, so that's just not where my brain went immediately. I really love TFS's guitar sounds. Like, how big and chaotic, as far as psychedelic rock goes, they have just, like, they kind of have it down. They have that madness. They've got a more modern sound than what you might hear in, like, a 60s psychedelic rager moment, like when you hear like old The Grateful Dead, like shortly after like the acid test, when they really started doing the experimental, like long, drawn out improvisations. You kind of get that element within something like this, but in a little bit of a more condensed package, and I really enjoy it. And I think it does always, like, I'm not going to continuously say this, but it definitely screams contemporary to like Giz's works with really a lot of the stuff in like the Nonagon era in the like the year prior or post, like, plus or minus 1 year of Nonagon. You kind of get some similar textures from that. That was a great opener. Antimatter Animals. Wow. This is rough.
You only ought to be remembered.
The electronic
If you
sound
have been
there,
forgotten first,
with the synth kind of pumping.
it's like you ought to be misplaced. By simply taking up too much space. Everywhere and nowhere like a needle in a haystack.
This is interesting.
Everywhere and nowhere like an eon or a curse.
Some of those like really aggressive like saw synth sounds like remind me a little bit of the very little I know about like 9 Inch Nails, maybe.
If you wanna be remembered,
Like using sounds that Imagine Dragons would use, but in a cool psychedelic rock context.
only making everything much worse.
Effects and compression, huh? Huh.
Burn me on an endless beach.
I think he said endless beach,
Or
not empty.
bury me at night. Don't take yourself so personally. Just give me peace and quiet. Everywhere and nowhere like a needle in a haystack. Everywhere and nowhere like a needle in a curse.
The use of the
If you
female
wanna
harmonies
be
there.
remembered, you're only making everything much worse.
Sometimes it gives a little bit of a creepy, like kind of Halloween-esque music vibe. Other times it gives a little bit of a like something that you might hear in like a American Horror Story score, for example. But then other times you get like these really clean sounding harmonies. The way that they have this thing kind of dancey, kind of tense, it and creepy a little. Like I sometimes I feel like I'm about to hear a rap come in, like a rapper come in, and I think it's kind of cool that there's just this continuously like kind of prose poetry, and it almost what sounds like aggressive sung spoken word. Like it's his voice is sometimes the line where spoken word ends and singing begins. Hey, take care, Joel. elephant in the room, kind of the antimatter elephant has wrecked the afternoon. It kind of gives you an elephant in the room sort of vibe, but like the antimatter elephant in the room. But it's an interesting idea. I think there's 4.
Politics ain't nothing but a fun fuck you. No one sees the window that you're waving through. It's very, very simple. Your politics ain't nothing but a fun fuck you. Your politics ain't
What's up,
nothing but a
19?
fun
How you doing,
fuck
homie?
you. No one sees the window that you're waving through. It's very, very simple. Your politics ain't nothing but a fun fuck you. Your politics.
Like a pleasant, like a happy, like a fond farewell would be like a very happy goodbye.
Politics ain't nothing but a fun fuck you.
Pleasant goodbye, kind goodbye.
It's very, very simple.
Like if I'm fond of you, I like you. I think you're swell. Like you're a cool person. Like if I'm fond of something, I like it. Like yeah, like a very polite F you. Definitely what the case is there. This one came in a little bit with a little bit more of a rub than the first one. I really enjoyed You Let My Tires Down. This one, it wasn't bad. It had really cool breakdown parts, but I found it was a little bit too trip hop for me. You know, I am thinking here, though, I do like that it feels like we're kind of revisiting the artistic similarities of the very first album cover and the very last one. Because if you look at the other album covers, they're not necessarily like Where the Wild Things Are-esque, and I kind of like that they do that. It feels like it's revisiting maybe an artistic styling, and I wonder if the album covers are kind of indicating what it is I'm saying artistically. Mel, you're a cutie. I friggin' love you, lady. W's for my wife.
These are only my impressions, all of which are false. The day you've got nothing to say, the day I check your pulse.
They have a lot of like wet tones. You know what I mean? Like, they have, when I say wet tones, I mean like a lot of times they're really wrapped up like and swallowed up with like fuzz sounds and like reverb sounds, and like they intentionally oscillate a lot of things. Like obviously nothing right now is oscillating, but then you have this like modulated sound where it kind of feels like there's always a little bit of a warble to what it is that they play. And you know, it feels like a lot of what they're doing is like kind of either middle or bridge pickup-y, so you're getting a real pop, a real treble pop in the guitar tones. Very true.
Scot-free moralizing's got me quite demoralized.
I totally, wow. I love the call. I mean, I love that he calls the spade a spade with political systems there.
You found ain't no shame and sin. You come in and swinging. Oh. Those who can't teach, those who don't speak, 'cause we never see the light on our own.
Ooh.
So why do I feel like I'm dying? Shame and sin, where you been? I don't ever miss you being on my own. And you come in all knowing like you never made mistakes of your own.
When the Fiona and what's the other lady's name? When they come in on the background vocals, I get so excited. They really, really, really do an exemplary job. They have such an interesting mix together. Erica, thank you. That's just noise. Cats, boots, and cats.
We've got spies and rabble-rousing. Seems like you could use a little sexually abuse.
I loved that transition going da da da. It does remind me a little bit of a song. I'm okay by The Offspring. Why don't you get a job? But in like a minor key instead of a major key. I love the double bend guitar texture there so much. This one was a ton of fun. This song banged. I think it's just easy, but again, you guys know that I've made it like very, very, very clear in my time making videos that I'm just a really big fan of psychedelic rock. I like how crazy and bombastic it goes. I like how all over the place the tones tend to be. I like getting lost in sound. My only gripe with psychedelic rock, and the reason it's not like my main daily driver any longer, is truly and simply just because I end up getting sometimes a little bit overstimulated if I listen to too much of it too many times. So it's like I have to be in a certain kind of mood. But, you know, it's just one of those genres that I'm always going to really, really, really like. It's so easy for me to just jump in and be like, yep, this rips. I want to have fun play. I like the energy of it. I like the ripping. Yeah, big old fan. Guys, I'm going to go pee. You go do what you got to do. Make your pees, make your poops, stretch, eat something, get a snack. I'll be right back. Sorry about that delay, friends. I made a cup of coffee, and now we're hopping back in the future of history. Here we go.
Yeah, you know, the algorithm were relying on chance. Until he blew out the chamber like I shot at him. His name was Kasparov, the one that all the girls loved. And in the USSR he was a god. He blew out the 64-bit lightning war. He was the data crushing fucking of a Commodore. He was a Mongol horde of a checkerboard. He was shot and all with an intercore and a thing for the extinction of the dinosaurs. LSI running. AIX, Chuck Norris versus Boris in the Valley of Death. A sky with A-World, a shore without AC, a sun without heat, shining like.
This has a really uncomfortable sound to it. It like really tense. They really do it to like, you know, kind of bend with it. It feels like this whole thing is based on like a half step to down, 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 down. Like it kind of feels like this focuses on like a blue feeling. Like when I say that, I mean like a blue note, like a blue, like it really kind of lets the blue sustain. And it's got this interesting, like kind of staccato-y spoken word. The future, it feels like maybe we're talking about like, you know, environmentalism meets government problems meets you know, dystopia meets consumerism and materialism. It's pretty interesting.
Can't see, I used to worry, wonder that I have feelings too, but then he says I'm a worry that is not true. Cast mouse stuck his prowess on his claim to life, and he wasn't about to lose it to a traffic light. But machines don't cry, they don't concede. I like the shogun with the krogan you're about to eat. 30 hours, 6,000 SP thin on 20 megahertz, V2SC, the LSI running, AIX, Chuck Norris versus Boris in the Valley of Death. A sky with A-World, a shore without AC, a sun without heat, shining like you can't see. If silicone is prone to make your dreams come true, you could probably say the same thing about nightmares too.
It's actually a rip. If silicone is prone to make your dreams come true, you could probably say the thing about same thing about your nightmares too. That's a very interesting way to phrase it, and totally a realistic thing. They are both sides. The dream and the nightmare are two different sides of the same coin.
To shock, and all the veins in Gary's forehead went pop, pop, pop.
No, they're definitely skeptical.
Well, I could probably do the same thing when you're nightmares too. 30 hours, 6,000 SP, 20 megahertz, linked to a C. The LSI running, AIX, Chuck Norris versus Boris in the Valley of Death. A sky with A-World, a shore that I see, a summer out of heat, shining like you can't see. If you ain't worried that they're gonna do your work for you, you recall I said the same thing about farming too. Your spouse, so I fight and cry out in despair. We are commanded by the monsters we have brought to bear. Ain't nobody to.
It's crazy how kind of dancey this feels. While it's like, do the everybody, let's get together and do the dystopia is kind of how it feels.
The dishes, the turkeys for Christmas, gaslighted by the telephone, the pussy jobs in business, and no one in the future plays chess or cares.
30 hours, 6,000 SP, 10 1, 20 megahertz, V2SC, VLSI, AIX, Chuck Norris versus Boris in the Valley of Death.
A sky with an A-World, a shore with an AC, a sun with a heat shining like you can't see. If I am as hit, I'm making dreams come true. You could probably say the same thing about nightmares too.
The guitar work is so interesting. Like, I so dig this, dude. In the madness and chaos, like, this is actually, I've liked this one the best so far. It really does have, like, so many of the sounds are bit crushed, and it's so nice. I think that one thing I'm really finding that like they really do blend like psychedelia with their view of the world and how it's on its way to dystopia. Obviously they're very outspoken and political on the things that they are passionate about, but I think the big picture is kind of like big business and governments are ruining us, and they're doing it together. Like they're working for each other, and all of us are kind of taking it to the face because of it. 2 afternoons. I love this bass.
Mid-afternoon, high summer, on the island southern shore.
This, for whatever reason, reminds me of that song Oxygen that I heard live by Swans without it being as in my face. Like, is this what you want? Oxygen. I mean, that being the case, it's obviously doing more than just the very abrupt, harsh transitions. But for whatever reason, that was the first place my brain went to.
Just you and your boys over, going where the water's warm, where the sea's a desolation. It ain't much better than the land. In any trace of civilization has long been buried in the sand. Like waves on thirsty beaches, wet goats with human faces, and the skeletons of horses. They roam the fourth dimension, long before anyone drank hemlock, long before anyone got nailed up. 2 afternoons that rain, 'cause they're forever gonna paint, trying to make their names, tearing each other up. This morning you woke and spoke of dreaming about 2 endless afternoons. Well, I feel old by hotel pools, but in the future I'll be history. Though I'm happy going anywhere you choose. To see the sky you're dreaming of,
That transition.
hey, the one that I hear someone say, I see the coast of Africa from here, but you're asleep, but you don't bother looking up. Well, I said that later on there'd be a party on a beach. I look around me now and I can see it's still at large. I would not hold them to their promises, 'cause this could all be a mirage.
Wow. That's a way to view it.
Dive down to the bottom, way out beyond the shore. But something's changed, where, why, how, when, I do not really think I wanna know about what's down there anymore. Not feeling very good.
I love the background vocals here.
But you could always hold your breath a whole lot longer than I could.
Honestly, it's got a little bit of like a psychedelic. I'm gonna say the word because but I'm not meaning it in a derogatory way. But like, kind of has like a gypsy rock sort of vibe, like, or Romani. I think that I couldn't remember that word, but I think that's the word I'm supposed to use in its place. But it's kind of got that sort of vibe in some of the big chaotic psychedelic moments. It feels like maybe a little bit of like a Middle Eastern kind of musical influence there, but it also has like a distinct, like, kind of just heartbeat to the drum, and like that 4/4 timing that keeps it kind of dancey, kind of groovy. but also there's like again, one of those everybody do the dystopia dance kind of vibes. Gogol Bordello-esque for sure. Literally, as I was saying the gypsy thing, that's what was coming to mind.
You go a long way in a short
Like, I feel like I'm about to start wearing purple.
time. If you felt that's what you wanted, you only gotta back yourself for once. But me, I'm trying to enjoy 2 afternoons under the dunes. All I've made's a detailed survey of the surface of the sun. Just say from this day forward, you won't ever look behind. And everything that you believe in, it just depends on what you find.
It's very, very appropriate. I have to be very cautious because I do get in my head a whole lot about like worrying about the world, like panicking about like X, Y, or Z, and I don't let on to it, I don't allow myself to dig too deeply into those thoughts. It took me a while to figure it out for myself, but something that really worked for me because I do find myself getting like, if I'm not conscientious about it, getting a bit agoraphobic. Like it's hard sometimes for me to go out, and like I do carry a lot of anxiety, and if I spend a lot of time looking at what's happening in the world around me, I just freak myself out and I start spiraling. And it's like, I started practicing stoicism a few years ago. I want to say like 4 years ago now, and it's been a part of like, my life practice now for quite a while. But a lot of that was me learning how to focus on the things that were and were not in my control, and focusing on things that were or were not. Because truthfully, it's incredibly difficult to get yourself out of a spiral, especially when you're living a life that perpetuates the spiral. And I think that's one reason I've been so avoidant and divorced from politics, simply because it is bad for my health. It's bad for my mental health. It's not good for me because I do start spiraling about things I can't fix. My heart gets broken about things I can't make, or things I can't change for the better. And, I've resigned to the belief that my best way to help people is to like focus on my well-being, take care of myself, and hopefully, but in doing so, make tiny changes to the world that, butterfly effect into big things. In this context, I think that when I hear music like this, it's like I really do a lot of times feel like they're singing exactly how I'm feeling and how discouraged I am with the way I see the world around me. But then it also has, anytime I see stuff like this or hear stuff like this, it has now become a reminder of me to remember to focus on the things that are within my control, and to remember that worrying has never added a moment to my life, right? Like spending my time like spiraling about the things I worry about has genuinely never been a healthy or positive experience for me, and never, nothing good ever came out of those feelings. So I try to focus on those things and recognize like when I am perpetuating my own bad feelings. So because again, for me, it can end up becoming overwhelming, and I will end up shutting myself down. Excuse me. Soft power.
Hey, hold your fireman, don't shoot. Here come the Oompa Loompa with the nukes. riding his fly blown drone like there ain't no one home, with no particular cause except what's here now is
he indicating
Come
Trump
on
as
like
the
a
Oompa
T-Rex
Loompa?
with all the confederates lined us all up like the alphabet. Refresh my memory again, I can't remember anymore. The plans were either going to Mars or war. I've heard a lot of promises. This ain't the way it has to go. I heard how the deserters made them
squeals
push
there
their
in the
arms
feedback.
with coffee-colored skin, naked, green-eyed prawns. The fights stay here, they pick the fights they win. The same fuck soft power. No one's coming in, and no one's gonna lie to me, lie to me, lie to me.
Resi Stoner, welcome to the Brewskis, homie. I have
the
not.
way it has to go. Now there's a siege of the survivors in a pockmarked bank. Pizza boys and postmen charging at its flanks. A junior exec under a walnut desk calls a local news to tell the world what's coming next. They're taking pot shots across the lawn with the curtains drawn, but it's like shooting at the Chinese wall. Soft power.
It's got this down, 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 down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Kind of feels like an off time or a polyrhythmic thing, or like maybe actually, I'm supposed to be saying polymeter here, in that you've got the guitar kind of so rubbing the texture of the drum, while you've got this massively full and like dense atmosphere provided by this like bass signal.
Oh, no, fuck! They got surrounded by the hot stuffed crust. While the billboard Jolly Roger drove them by east with ways to glory, all said grace in their shopping cart. Oh, and now they're all in heaven with their Bee Gees Christ. Their souls are set free, yet somebody's already buying them. Look up there, it's a multiplex hex at Tom Cruise at the end of a rainbow, all our eyeballs roll through.
The ride he's running here, while this
Look up there, it's a multiplex hex
This is
at
so
Tom
nice.
Cruise at the end of a rainbow, all our eyeballs roll through. He's picked up the option,
Hey, nice
he's gonna
schizoid.
film the file cool. Right after he makes Top Gun 2, soft power, soft pedal, everything was going so swell, but now we need to play our weak and well.
fair enough. Kind of drops into nothing there. Kind of creepy, out of tune music box moment here.
Bye-bye, scarecrow. Hello, old world. I'm moving back into the shitty dome. It leaks every time it rains, and I'm in here racking my brains. I'm drinking vodka from a dirty coffee cup.
Oh,
I
that's when you know
always
you got it
thought
bad.
I knew once I shot through that I'd be sure of what I was giving up. The feeling of relief I'd get from getting up to leave was never meant to be, 'cause now you've gone and fucked everything up. And to hear me talk, you'd guess I'd be the first to walk, and that I never dreamt that I'd be missing you so much. Everyone here gets a joke, everybody except you. It must be lonely at the top, so let me lighten
This
up
one
your
has
mood.
kind of just had a
The downside is we're all about to get royally fucked, and the upside is we're all about to get screwed.
oh.
But in spite of it all, we'll miss you more than you miss us, and I'm gonna miss you so much.
What's your guys' read on this one?
So much.
definitely liked the vibe of it bringing Broad down. Some of this album has almost gotten to the point of a little bit of audio fatigue in that it just comes at you in some places with like a fire hose of sound, but it's not the conventional psychedelic sounds that I like to hear. Like with the squealing guitars, it's like it does feel like a lot of these things sound so electric, even though I feel like it's just overly compressed and kind of bit crushed sounds. But it's like psychedelic porn, not psychedelic porn. It's like Tropical F Storm kind of took some of Imagine Dragons' tricks, did it better in a much more chaotic atmosphere, and you know, threw mega big political statements into it. And it feels like super heavy, super ominous, you know? It feels very, very much like avant-garde in the realm of psychedelia. And yeah, these are the Happy Days, Kenshin. Characters being mentioned here. Gotcha.
But when you go, I'm gonna miss you most. Scarecrow, I'm gonna miss you most. When you go, I'm gonna miss you most. Scarecrow, I'm gonna miss
Overshot
you
my
most.
cup there, Fit.
When you go, I'm gonna miss you most. Scarecrow, I'm gonna miss you most.
It's in the drum sound specifically. It's that like snare sound, like the electronic sounding drums, even if they're real drums, sometimes are just so compressed and tuned to the point that they sound like they're being triggered. And it's like it's just in the drum sound that I hear, well, and sometimes in like the big echoey reverby like atmosphere sounds. Now what these guys do is significantly more complex than what Imagine Dragons have ever even considered doing, but there are similar sound textures one artist to the other, even if this band takes the biggest dump all over everything Imagine Dragons has ever done or hoped to do. Definitely soft power being like political alliances that aren't like overtly spoken, but okay. For example, like if we're taking streamers in context, Jack Doherty like has a soft power by bumping into anybody he wants to and then being able to jump behind like a security guard who is then gonna threaten to F somebody up if they mess with Jack. So like that's a soft power, is like those two walking. But in this context, it would be like geopolitical on an international scale of like frightening countries, like countries that have opposing views to ours teaming up together. Shellfish Toxin. I believe this was another this was mentioned in Fairyland Codex or something like, but not necessarily this, right? Are there lyrics or is this an instrumental? Maybe I'm wrong. Instrumental. Got it. Thank you. That might be what it was, Sai. Maybe I'm getting my brain twisted. Love that. Oh, the birds. This is like bringing us to the beach. This is all over the place. It does have a little bit of a soundtrack to it. It definitely is kind of like I don't know, like we're kind of seeing the villain's lair right now. This is such a funny ride. Real talk, I read that as wading through heavy vegetarian, and I was like, huh? Kind of has an eerie march to it. Heavy vegetarian. Yep, I'm totally not. The oscillating sounds. They're twisting the feedback knobs. The drum textures are so interesting, this whole album, dude. Okay, so I think we have 2 songs after this one. Yeah, so we've got Laughing Death in Meatspace, the title track, and then Rubber Bullies. What song is... First timers, how are you guys feeling about the album so far? What song has stood the tallest to you since we've gone into this? I think right now, my favorite is probably 2 Afternoons. Yeah, that seems right. That or You Let My Tires Down, but I think I really think 2 afternoons might be it. Good nugget there, Cy.
The Valley engineers called the end times Meatspace.
Wow.
When Kuru was a pop on Laughing Dead. Then we wrote ties and atomized and brought the schism on. How can you condemn someone for simply being someone else? How can you condemn someone for simply being someone else?
It's like my stance on Christianity.
I remember when being at home and not to live or die alone. But now there's hardly anybody left. And now there's hardly anybody left. And then I remember a bright funny day. And then I remember my
That bass,
run away.
nice fuzzy walk.
And then I remember a bright funny day. And then I remember my run away. Town was more hallucination than a feast for the eyes. And it got pretty bad for most, yet good for some. And they all preached, live and let live, and yet forgot how to forgive. An ideal don't make the world worth living on.
Yeah.
An ideal don't make the world worth living on.
I can tend to agree with that.
Now it's pyramids and dams and German pillboxes in France. And that is all there is that's left of everyone. And that is all there is that's left of everyone. And then I remember a bright funny day.
I love their combination of
And then
vocals.
I remember my run away. And then I remember a bright funny day. And then I remember
This is my second.
the panic and sweat rolling down the highway.
It did, Bor.
You reclaim from the sea. Well, we had hardly any time, and there ain't no wrong or right. And your home is down here with me.
I love that it's progressively building up.
Yes, I forgive you, my sunny day. Oh, yes, I believe you, my runaway. Oh, yes, I forgive you, my sunny day. Oh, yes, I believe you, my runaway. My runaway. My runaway. My runaway. My runaway. Ah, yes, I forgive you, my sunny day. Oh, yes, I believe you, my runaway.
saying "My Runaway" is like a kind of bittersweet term of endearment?
My runaway. My runaway.
What do you get? What's your read on that? That was my favorite vocal performance of this whole thing. Honestly, I think title track just won me over. That was just a really kind of interesting view of this, you know, like I forgive you, my runaway, like kind of forgiving somebody for you know, being left or, you know, it not working. It's an interesting again perspective. I'm interested the death and Meatspace thing, where that title came from. Coming into the last song, does it stick the landing? Does the album stick the landing? That is Rubber Bullies. Here we go.
Supermarket echoes freezing, man. Feeling like I'm dying. It's a half hour after midnight, and all the fluoro zap my appetite. It don't make choosing easy. I'm waiting for a sign, some miracle of marketing to save me from these eyes, and it's on meager man amnesia in the narrow night-turned streets. Capsize in their puddles with their storm clouds and their sleep. Discreet wet dreams and nightmares, seclusion side by side. The world's way too connected, and all anybody does is fight. Staging their crypto inquisitions, all
it's
in
interesting that it's kind
choice,
of leading with this
like
bass
anything that screws you surely short up by its bulk and better organized.
It psyched me out. I thought it was gonna go huge.
Getting monetized, can't be criticized. You better hold on and get it right. You better hold on. Whole world's gonna pass you by. How? Why? Time seems to fly.
The album title links Meatspace as Silicon Valley engineers derogatorily refer to the physical realm, with a neurodegenerative disorder called Kuru once found in the Fore people of Papua New Guinea. Men would eat the muscles of the deceased, while women and children ate the brains, thereby inheriting Creutzfeldt Jacob disease and potholing their own gray matter to such an extent that they lost control of their emotions and laughed themselves to death. Oh my gosh. What a nugget there, Cy.
How? Why? Life passed me by. Just take me on a holiday. Put me on an aeroplane. I wanna be in W. I wanna be immortal in my lifetime too.
I'm so glad I don't have mine anymore. This lead playing over the top in the left ear, and you can notice that the lead is in the left ear and you've got the rhythm in the right, and I love the way they blend.
There's a stone wall around the citadel. There's There's a city made of glass, certain past, certain futures, certain past. And there's a building site on Sesame Street, all padded on the back. It's all foot-long subdivisions, built so cheap they won't outlast your disapproval, or they're doormats built by the sycophants of plutocrats and idiots, big on firm handshakes and eye contact. The water pressure's pitiless, and all the restaurants shut by 8. The walls are made of plywood when they should be armor plate. You better hold on, it's gonna fly. Here comes a letter to the occupant. Here comes a caveat, and I for.
You've got that bass bum 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 bum, and then you've got the guitar.
And how, why?
I kind of wanted it to explode into madness at the
Take me
end.
on a holiday. Put me on an aeroplane.
Reminds me vaguely of Talking
Take me on
Heads.
a holiday. Put me on an aeroplane. Oh, how, time, where we going now? To the terrace of a Rio, with the bougainvillea vines, where the heat finally nailed me. So we stayed the extra night, and then the guard up in the watchtower tries to keeping out the
Now we're
fighting.
getting bigger.
He took the difference between sexes almost down to their handwriting. And when we checked out the next morning, when we were on a first name basis, the loony had the kind of features where you can't recall his face. But it wouldn't have been that much later he saw God. 'Cause he died staring up the nostrils of a UPP shotgun nigga that hold on. He couldn't fly. Wrong place, wrong time was something of an understatement. And the world went past him by.
This one has definitely been a ride. I wasn't the biggest fan
Time
of.
seems to fly. Where we going now?
Oh, that's Clarky. That my dog, my best boy. I will say I enjoyed this album. This was sometimes a lot to digest. This was other times really profound. This was other times like really exciting, other times really tense, other times really in your face. I like that it's kind of aggressive. Sometimes it was overstimulating and a little bit like dissonant, a little bit kind of chaotic. And am I gonna get a matching cardigan for Clark? Oh, it would be so cute, but he hates clothes. I can't do it to him. He really hates it. Guys, honestly, I think I liked Fairyland Codex better off of first. I'd wondered if recency bias might have changed that for me, but I do think I just connected a little bit more with Fairyland Codex. It was a pretty heavy listen, admittedly, but it just said a lot of really big things that I think I connected with. As a freshman album, this is a tremendous effort, though. It's not like I disliked it. I just do think you really see what 7 years of evolution and them progressing and developing together has brought them. And I can definitely see maybe it like Fairyland being like a part 2 or a sequel of sorts. I definitely enjoyed it, and maybe I need to live with it a little bit more. Like I think that I really found more out of Fairyland Codex on like a second and third listen. Maybe the same would be true for a Laughing Death and Meatspace. I'm not sure, but everybody, W's for our homie Uni. That was one of the top 13 albums, so that has been there for a long time. I believe our friend Cygen also contributed a lot to buffing that album over the course of time. So just make sure we have listened to TFS because of those two within the stream. So everybody W's, especially if you ended up liking it. Hey, newbies, let me know. First timers, what did you think of the album? Guys, I love you. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much for the positivity that you show both to me and to one another. Continue to be the best. And until I see you next, be introspective and consider the birds. Goodbye.